What's the worst food crime you have seen anyone commit? There was a Girl Scout event and one of the parents said they were going to bring homemade chili. It was a family recipe. Being a fan of chili, I was looking forward to it. Well, it was interesting in a crazy sort of way. Here, write down this recipe in case you want to make it at home. Smith Family Chili Recipe. 3 cans Campbell's tomato soup. 1 pound of ground beef. Whatever you do, don't add anything else like salt or pepper or anything. I went to secondary school with a girl who ate ham and chocolate spread sandwiches. I think this is the first one in this thread that made me audibly go, no. Whenever my dad goes on a diet, he eats like post-apocalyptic stuff to keep his calorie intake low. I saw him empty out a can of Spam, cut the giant Spam chunk in half and just microwave it for a minute. That was his dinner. He also gets that watery canned tuna and mixes it in a bowl of Kraft mac and cheese. Sometimes he even gets some ground beef, cooks it, and then just eats like that, maybe with a little salt, but overall just sad tasteless rubber. Has he never heard of maybe just a salad? I was at a Mexican-American diner known mostly for their menudo on weekends. SoCal. I saw an entire family dump a huge pile of shredded cheese in their menudo and couldn't help but make an audible gasp. Thankfully, it was a crowded, loud restaurant, but I could not believe my eyes. Saw someone make a shepherd's pie by throwing all the ingredients into a pot, without browning the meat, boiled it in a big soupy mess. Then added a full box of instant mashed potato and stirred it all together until it became one big congealed block. Watched my BIL make guacamole with mayonnaise. Never recovered. The mother of one of my friends needed a new roof and I was over one Saturday helping him do the shingles. She offered to make us her self-described famous goulash. It was literally just elbow macaroni boiled until it was falling apart, unseasoned and cooked until dry ground beef, and then a bottle of ketchup dumped over it. I once watched my father put a pork roast into a crock-pot all by itself, set it to high, and declare that dinner would be ready in about 4 hours. I was just up for a visit, so I kicked him out of his kitchen and scrounged around for whatever expired spices and other ingredients I could scrape together and turn the temp down. It wasn't great, but at least it was more than just a pork roast plus high heat for 4 hours. Well done steak with ketchup. Sat next to a couple at a bar that serves slices of pizza. The lady asked the bartender for a fork, and the man she was with groaned and was visibly embarrassed. She then proceeded to scrape all of the toppings off of the pizza, eat them with the fork, and then eat the somewhat saucy bread after. Another one I have is one of my best friends growing up would eat a Big Mac layer by layer. Like he would take the bun off, eat that, then the top patty with the toppings, then the bun below that, and etc. etc. You really have to find better people to hang with. Many years ago when I worked at Panera, we sold a cinnamon swirl raisin bread around Christmas time. We usually just sold it as a whole loaf. Had a woman come in and order a tuna salad sandwich, extra mayo, extra cheese toasted on this bread. I confirmed it back to her a few times because I was convinced I was mishearing her. She ate the whole thing. I've committed the heinous crime of white rice and barbecue sauce. To be fair, struggle food is struggle food. Open-faced peanut butter and Miracle Whip sandwiches. The smell? Ugh. Once when I was a kid, my father splurged and got some nice filet mignon for the family for dinner. My childhood best friend put ketchup on his. He's still my best friend and he still got invited to many subsequent dinners, but he hasn't been near a steak in my presence since. I feel I owe it to my father. My mom, since she was a kid, would eat pickled pig's feet with chocolate milk. My stepdad ordered a fancy lamb dish, ate a few bites and just left the rest. It looked delicious and was such a massive waste of food. I hate wasted food. Anytime someone doesn't take their leftovers to go is a food crime IMO. Honey onion and peanut butter sandwich. Or as they called it, HOP sandwich. My MIL cooks steak in the oven, 4 hours. Literally hours. First she bashes their brains out, tenderizes them by whacking them, unnecessarily, then puts them in a roasting pan and into the oven for 3 or 4 hours. I think she also covers them in gravy before cooking, instant gravy, made with granules. She usually buys what the supermarket labels as medallion steaks, which I assume are the worst/cheapest type of steak. Once, the online shopping arrived and they had substituted the 3 medallion steaks with sirloin steaks at no extra cost. I argued with my husband about not letting her have them because I knew she would ruin them. We do the shopping, then take it to her as she lives next door, but I lost that argument. I don't even eat beef and have never eaten steak. But it still made me angry just thinking about how she would mess them up. What a waste. My cousin puts ice in his milk, then adds cereal. He is a psychopath. A friend methodically peeled a large orange, hollowed out a Costco muffin, placed the orange therein and ate the muffin like a sandwich. There is a food influencer account that I follow. I love the lady. She's really sweet and positive. Her posts are a bright spot. However, one day she posted her lasagna recipe and one of the layers was the orange Kraft singles. She unwrapped the orange pre-wrapped slices and spread them out on the sauce. It was not rage bait, but it was rage-inducing. At a high-end resort, the lady at the next table asked for salt and pepper and proceeded to shake salt on her food before every bite. So much salt. This is the type of place that doesn't put salt on the table because their seasoning is impeccable. The table was the closest to the kitchen. There is no way the chef didn't know she was doing it. I saw a woman steal bites off her dining companion's plate while she was away from the table, at a soup plantation which was an all-you-can-eat buffet. A lot of kids seem to go through a put ketchup on everything phase, but I knew one who would squeeze ketchup into his glass of milk and stir it up like it was chocolate syrup. My dad is 85. He is partial to a bit of lightly fried sea bass served with a bit of buttered brown bread. Sounds lovely, but then he always asks me for the vinegar. He absolutely drowns the lovely lightly seasoned sea bass in bloody brown vinegar. Salt and vinegar should only be used on battered fish that has been deep fried, in my humble opinion. For a while there my spouse was putting mustard on everything. Who cares with hamburger or breakfast foods? But when he put mustard on a nice Italian noodle dish I had made I did feel a bit personally offended. Anyway, it was just a phase. He has ADHD, so he'll often get stuck on a food for a few months. When I was in my early mid-20s I lived with my dad. One day he brings home 2 big beautiful steaks. I had been a cook for a few years at this point, so I took it upon myself to do the cooking. Asked him how he wanted it cooked. He asked how I had mine. I said medium rare and he agreed he'd have his the same. Give him his once they're done. He cuts into it, says he wants it cooked a little more. I offer to do it and he says eat a fine and he'll do it himself. This man grabs a frying pan, puts it on the stove, throws his steak in there, fills the pan with water and boils his steak for 15 minutes. Those old videos of the spaghetti jello mold thing from like the 90s, and anytime my fellow pasty people have cut up a hot dog and put it in a casserole dish. If you've ever put raw meat and every other ingredient of your meal all together at once and let it mesh into a greasy can soup mushy mess, go to jail. If your chicken hasn't been washed, seasoned, and cooked through thoroughly, go to jail. I used to drive a pea combine in the summer for Green Giant. More than once I dumped a 1,000-pound hopper full of peas on the ground instead of into the truck. The crew chief would pull up and toss a shovel and say, "Get to work." That mountain of peas would get shoveled off the dirt and into the back of a pickup truck and sent to the cannery 20 minutes away. My mom for quite a while once a week bought fresh tortellini but never followed the directions on the package that says boil. She would pour canned tomato sauce and shredded mozzarella and oven bake just until the cheese melts. I worked at a small pizza place in my hometown as a teenager. The local flower shop owners insisted that a pizza with mayo as the sauce with garlic salt, black olives, onions, and cheese tasted like Alfredo pizza. I still gag thinking about that almost 15 years later. I know someone that once marinated chicken in Mountain Dew before grilling it. No salt or anything, just greenish-gray chicken. Same person also adds cilantro to everything. And mean everything: Italian food, American food, everything. Watched a coworker assemble the following at a buffet-style catered event. Hot dog on hot dog bun, off to a good start. Ranch dressing on the hot dog. Excuse me? Croutons on the gosh dang ranch-drenched hot dog. Drug test this employee immediately. Didn't get to see this one, but my older brother, while at a hunting banquet with Dad years ago, ate a mashed potato sandwich. My dad didn't know how to cook before he met Mom. There's actually a joke that the first time he tried to make bacon, he took it, pan and all, next door to Grandma's for help. He's since learned basic stuff. Not exactly Gordon Ramsay, but he won't starve to death. Anyway, he takes leftovers and throws them into scrambled eggs in the morning. Carrots, mustard, other bits of this and that. Digging in the fridge, talking to himself like, better use this up. And That was some good eating last night. Can finish that off. My friend cooked popcorn in leftover grease from fried fish. I watched in absolute horror as my friend deconstructed a piece of sushi in front of me.